starting to
Okay,
strut.
so,
Strut.
yeah, starting to strut,
Expression of the shining is strut.
Okay, so the second part becomes, right, what actions in the world are you, because a good person is not an inanimate object. It's not something that doesn't act in the world, okay? Mm-hmm. So what actions in the world are representative of the goodness that you're talking about? Right. So then you can and then you can, to be a bit provocative, you say, well, what about things like forgiveness and compassion and empathy, right? Those are all heart-centered kind of emotions or actions even.
Which brings us to the heart chakra.
Uh-huh.
And this, in terms of what you're talking about, this is what we're talking about. The energy.
Yes. Yeah. And here's the thing, okay? Most people, when they're looking to react in some way to some event that's occurred, they're looking to try and balance things out. We have a very justice-oriented view in that, an eye for an eye. A person has done this, they need to be punished, or they need to be, something needs to be done so that the balance becomes back to normal again. Mm-hmm. Okay, and here's the thing, with forgiveness, what happens to that balance? Right, it gets lost. There is no balance in forgiveness. Forgiveness is totally an act of creation.
Mm-hmm. And illogical,
irrational. It doesn't make sense. Animals don't forgive. Right?
My dog does. I can see it in his eyes.
No, I think your dog ignores.
It could be. I mean, I'm just misinterpreting it.
Yeah. You're going, no, whatever.
yeah, no. But no, I'm following you. You're right.
Right? Because when like, if somebody does something bad to me, and then I'm looking to readdress that imbalance, and okay, I take an eye for an eye is the kind of old sort of view of this. But
just the old view of justice.
The old view of justice, right? And we use that today, but with forgiveness, where does that leave us? Okay, one eye is gone, but the other eye is not taken out in compensation. We forgive instead. So what we do is, instead of having that something to make that balance again, we shove in this thing called forgiveness, and that takes all the weight.
Yes, it removes, and I'll explain to my listeners that I was looking through some of your notes and what you're posting, and you posted one day karma. There was a little cartoon called Karma, and there was dominoes, huge dominoes that were set up, and they were going in a circle, and one man pushed this domino, so you can see that the domino started and it was halfway through. And you can see that eventually these dominoes are going to come around and squish him.
Yeah.
Okay, because he started an action, and then of course there's going to be a reaction, and pretty soon those dominoes are going to go first full circle and squash him because he's on, of course, in that circle.
Yes.
And then there was a second cartoon with the same situation, except there was a few of those dominoes that were missing in that circle. And the same process, he pushed those dominoes and they were coming around, and where those dominoes were missing were the word forgiveness.
Absolutely.
So as far as karma is concerned, it also influences karma.
It does. There is, as far as, because I've explored energy a lot, and as far as energy goes, there is virtually no better force than forgiveness.
Wow, it's very powerful.
It is very, very powerful. We have, mentally speaking, we have a lot of tethers. We have a lot of things. We hold a lot of tethers to our biography, what's happened to us in the past and so on. But energetically speaking, we have more tethers. Okay, and forgiveness is an absolutely brilliant sword to burn through some of those tethers that release us, energetically speaking.
And by forgiving others, what a source of self-love that is, because it's reflexive. Oh boy, yeah. We could go on forever with this, Kal.
Because it could take up multiple programs.
Yes, and you know what? We should go out and play a little bit and explore some of the spiritual dimensions to love and forgiveness and compassion and empathy. And we will.
We will definitely.
So for our listeners, I would just like to ask you, what could they do in order to exercise the pillar of creation?
What does my heart say?
Asking the question. In a situation, what does my heart say? Oh, so literally asking the question in any given situation.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Let's put all of these three pillars into context, if we can, right?
Please.
So the first pillar, freedom. So we freed ourselves from doing what other people want us to do. Okay, so we've gained that freedom, and now we're looking at personal truths rather than truths of other people. Okay.
And in the process of becoming non-judgmental, which is so important.
Exactly, absolutely, right. So we have lost that sense of judgment. Now we're in an open playing field now. Okay. So essentially, what I say to people is, once we take off enough of if we practice enough freedom, we return to our original purity, which is like a child. So you're in a new world now. So you're in a new world where in the old world you acted based on behaviors that you'd learned, but you've just got rid of most of those. So where are you going to go? Because now you're in a completely fresh new world. And it is like being a child, because now you're thinking, well, in this situation, what should I do? I've got no impulse from the past to push me forward. What should I do?
Okay.
So the second...
Go ahead.
So the second pillar, which is empowerment, is now that we've taken away from the social kind of thing, we take away from inside. So we've come from the outside with the social world. Now we go from the inside and we say, look, okay, I am responding to the world by learned behavior. So I'm going to pull those apart, pull the action, what's happened to me and what I do, pull those apart. So there's a gap.
With choice, there's a lot of choice involved.
Yeah. So now you've got that choice, and you're thinking, so how should I respond now that I've got the ability to respond rather than the reaction? How can I respond? And then you stick in that question, what does my heart say? Right? Which is the part of the creation, because you're creating a response. And the thing is, once you start creating the response, then it almost becomes immaterial what happens to you. Which again, going back to Viktor Frankl, it became immaterial what happened to him in the concentration camps, because his response wasn't coming from what's happening to me. His response came from, who am I?
Who am I?
Yeah. And then if you're a forgiving person, if that's what you find in your heart, then you will forgive, and people might say to you, oh, but they did such a transgression against you, and you think, no, but the transgression is immaterial, right? Because you're not.
Yeah, because you think about that, and of course, because they're not conscious of their actions, otherwise they wouldn't be doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
I feel that there are more and more people on the path because uncomfortability. The non-comfort has shifted people to actually start moving. And movement is very essential for any type of growth. And in the process of growth, people are starting to ask the questions and starting to search for heart-based answers.
Exactly right, which is I was going to say that the feeling that I have is because of people like yourself in this program, right? This is the kind of reason why I feel that there's more going on in the world in terms of movement towards heart-centeredness, is because of programs like this.
Authenticity Radio with Kal Malik. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Kal, thank you for presenting these 3 pillars of consciousness.
It's been a true pleasure.
You have given me and many people a lot of things to think about, to work on, and to play with.
It's been a fantastic time.
It has. And this is Slade Suiter. Until next time, be authentic, be true, and be free and conscious. Good.
I was out chopping cotton and my brother was baling hay. And at dinner time we stopped and walked back to the house to eat.
You have been listening to Slade Suiter Live on Authenticity Radio. If you'd like a workshop or seminar from Slade, go to www.authenticityradio.com.
The show may be over, but honesty should never stop.
Until next time, be yourself.